Welcome back to Beyond the Whistle, a sports show located in Boise, Idaho. We've got you covered on all you need to know about current sports news from the professional, collegiate, and local levels. We will be your hosts throughout the season. I'm Andrew Vincent.
I'm Alex East.
And I'm Christy Amstutz.
On this week's episode, we've got the NBA playing games, the Masters, the World Cup, and some opening week MLB storylines. So I think to start off, we could probably get into the NBA playoff game.
Andrew's
Maybe how the
Yeah.
Timberwolves won the championship,
Apparently.
I think, based off of their celebration.
Yeah, I've seen both sides of that argument, you know, because we saw the Timberwolves go crazy after beating the Clippers. And I think I've seen both sides where people are like, okay, come on, like,
They're
you
like, it's a
just
little
made the
excessive.
playoffs. Yeah, it's a little excessive.
I mean, for them, it is a big deal, though.
it is a big deal, and
been a
that's
long
I've
time.
also seen people from that point of view, like, you know, they made the playoffs, like, it's a big deal for them. But I think in the NBA, it's a little less, like, of a big deal. Like, with baseball and stuff, you see, like, popping champagne when you make the playoffs. I think with NBA, it's a little less, like, celebratory.
Yeah.
So I can see those opinions.
And with how the game went, I kind of did see why they reacted the way. Karl Anthony Towns was in foul trouble the entire game.
Yeah.
Patrick Beverley really had to step up. And just with his personality, like, he's
And
just
the
that type of
history.
guy.
And
the history,
with
he
the
just got
Clippers.
traded away from the Clippers, so he really wanted to show them.
Yeah.
So-
I thought it was a big deal for them.
Yeah.
And so they won 109-104, which is a really close game.
Close game
That's-
for playing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And compared to all the other play-ins that were, I think,
Kind of blowouts.
lower.
Blowouts for
More-ish.
basketball, blowouts, yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like Hornets, Hawks, that was a blowout.
Hornets showed that they were definitely the younger team. LaMelo's only 20 years old. I think it showed in that matchup. I think Trae Young is also the real deal, and
He's
he
the real
also
deal.
so he
He's
proved
so
again.
composed when
Yeah.
he plays.
And
Yeah.
I think we will see LaMelo Ball come more into himself as the years go on. You know, he's only in his first couple of years in the league.
I think he's going to be a superstar.
What I did think was funny about the Hornets was that they had. Did you guys see that story about they had the score posted from their playing game last year on their locker room
did see
wall
that.
all year, and then because it was a blowout last year, and then they just got
And then
blown
it's a
out.
blowout again.
Well, that probably is why it led to Miles Bridges. I don't know if you saw that. You know, chucking the
The mouthpiece.
Yeah.
mouthpiece
Yeah.
at the fan.
So
which
for those
was-
of you that don't know, the score was 132 to 103. That's about 30-point game right there. So
Yeah.
I think the game was kind of decided.
He did reach out on Twitter. He was like, "Somebody help me find this fan." So hopefully he'll make that right.
yeah.
But that is a little embarrassing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Don't want to
absolutely.
ever react that way.
So we have the big one, Nets versus Cavs. So obviously the Nets
Yep.
beat the Cavs 115 to 108. They're going to go on to play the Celtics, which, as a Celtics fan, is kind of sucks. Like, that's a little worrisome
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah.
But it's going to be really exciting to see two star duos play each other like that, especially Kyrie's history with the Celtics. It's going to be super exciting. And then
Well-
they say Ben Simmons might be
We'll
able to
see about
return
that.
as
We'll see
early
about
as like
that.
game
I think it's
4.
honestly not smart to bring him in at this point in the season because he hasn't played since literally like the last playoffs.
Yeah.
I would like to
yeah.
say, if we're talking about like future games, I did say last episode, I said I think they'll let Kyrie play.
You
And
did,
it
because
happened.
that was we were talking about
about
that.
The
Kyrie.
rules
whether or
did get
not-
changed.
The rules did
though.
get
The
changed.
mandates were.
That's what I was saying. I said I
Yeah.
think they'll change it so that
Yeah,
he can
yeah,
play.
yeah.
And
Isn't that crazy how rules just get changed for professional
Oh my gosh.
athletes?
I think also about the Nets Cavs. The Cavs are a really good team this year. I think Evan Mobley is a standout player. He'll win
Absolutely.
Rookie of the Year. And I think the Cavs are a really young team. And, you know, kind of like everyone's kind of like, they're not finished yet. They're
No.
young and excited to see what they do next
They're
year.
gonna have to
I
beat
mean,
the
it's gonna
Hawks though, so
Yeah.
that's gonna be a tough
for that
one.
8 seed,
Yeah.
which is going to be pretty
But
exciting.
yeah, I guess back to the Nets though. I do think that they're the biggest wild card
Oh,
in the
absolutely.
NBA.
And
you
They
said
could-
that, I think,
said-
2
they,
episodes
yeah,
ago
they could
or
literally
something
lose
like
in the
that.
first round to the Celtics, or they could like win the
the
finals.
championship. Yeah.
Like they're that good.
You
because
have
they-
them going all the way to the
I
finals.
do have them going all the way, so I haven't been your Boston Celtics, but
So we're going to be against each other
yeah,
for a little bit.
for a
I
little
think
bit.
they're a really good team. I
Yeah,
mean,
absolutely.
if they
I
get
mean, they have
everyone,
superstars.
Superstars, and if they get everyone playing well, then they're really dangerous.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
And then Spurs Pelicans.
Yeah.
I
Pelicans
thought
win
I
that
wasn't super
one.
surprised. I think once the Pelicans got CJ McCollum, he's a
Yeah.
leader, on and off the court, and obviously he can play very well. So
And he loves a good playoff game.
yeah, he likes to show up in the big moments.
Yes.
So when you need one game, he can do that for you.
Yeah.
So they still have to go on and play the Clippers for the 8 seed.
They do,
Correct.
but I think I have New Orleans beating the Clippers.
I do too, actually.
New Orleans is really good. They got
Yeah.
CJ, Brandon Ingram,
Yeah.
a lot of good role players, and then once they
And,
get Zion back,
I'm surprised
Paul
that
George
the
isn't-
Clippers even made it, honestly, to
Well,
the
and
play.
Paul
Yeah.
George, I don't think is playing. I think that just got announced today that
He's out?
for injury. Something.
wow.
Yeah.
Okay, well then I definitely have New
I
Orleans
didn't know
winning.
that.
Yeah.
He's always out, I feel like.
Either out or probable or questionable or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
But, yeah.
that's gonna be. So yeah, the next two matchups will be the Clippers versus the
Pelicans.
The
Pelicans
Pelicans and then the Cavs.
versus the Hawks.
Yeah.
I think I've got
Who do you have? Yeah, who do you guys
Hawks and Pelicans.
have? Okay, I have the same. I have the Hawks and the Pelicans.
I just can't bet against Trae Young. Love the Cavs, but I can't bet against
Yeah.
Trae Young. Who do you have?
I think I'm going to go Cavs, Pelicans.
I like that. I think the Cavs are good. They're young. They've got
Okay.
energy.
I think I'm going to go
Yeah.
Cavs, Pelicans. I think that's
Okay.
going to be a better matchup.
We'll see.
We'll see. Exciting.
Moving on to a little bit of college basketball.
Yeah.
My favorite, we had March Madness obviously just passed. Congratulations to the Kansas Jayhawks.
Yeah.
That's super, super exciting. I did not think that let's just talk about my bracket was blown up the moment Auburn lost.
I think a lot of people's brackets
My
were
bracket
blown
was
up. Like,
busted. It was terrible. We
Yeah.
already talked about it
Yeah.
last episode. It was bad. It just continued to get worse.
It was, I think everyone, honestly, every single person's bracket was just done
I don't
within a
know.
matter of
Yeah.
the best thing that I had going for
rounds.
me was Duke being in the Final Four,
Yes.
and then
Yes.
obviously North Carolina.
Yeah.
took them
You
out,
were
so.
pretty sure that Duke was going to win that
I
whole
was, and if it wasn't for North Carolina,
thing. And how it's crazy to me. It had
The
to be North
storylines, it
Carolina.
had to be UNC.
I know that sucks to go out that
It
way. Like
does.
your last game is like a loss to UNC.
Yeah.
Like
They handed him his first loss
Yeah,
and his last loss,
yeah.
which is
Yeah.
kind of crazy. But I do want to talk about Paulo Banchero,
Yeah, Banchero.
who I think arguably has proved to be the #1 player in the draft.
agree.
Some people disagree with that and
No,
think
I
it's going to
agree.
be Purdue's guy.
Yeah.
his name?
I forget his name, but
Yeah.
I know who
yeah.
you're talking about. Yeah.
Or Auburn's
Yeah,
Jamari
yeah.
Smith.
Yeah, I think Banchero's also
Yeah.
set himself apart.
He
I
averaged
mean,
18.8 points per game against two of the top 10 defenses, which were Arkansas and Texas Tech,
Yeah.
which is pretty incredible. I think that he's going to go '1. I think Detroit is going to need a standout player like that to rebuild their program because it's been 15 years of just
Yeah.
absolute
Yeah.
misery for that
Yeah.
franchise. So I think they kind of need a standout player, and I think that he's going to be the guy.
Yeah.
well, he's got the NBA build. He's 6'10", he can shoot the ball, dribble the ball,
He's pretty
pass the
incredible to
ball.
watch. Do you want to talk about Kansas a little bit too?
Yeah,
though?
what I was gonna say about Kansas is that like after their first game, I was like, they look like the best #1, and I was like, dang, I wish like we could watch one game before making our brackets because like I was like, oof, they look like they're gonna go all the
Yeah,
way,
they were
and it didn't
stacked.
look like they had any trouble like leading up to the championship game.
They played very well as a team.
Yeah,
Like
oh,
they
yeah.
have superstars, but as a team,
It's teamwork.
it was like Baylor last year to me. Like no one that was like just an absolute standout.
They just were very well rounded. They
Yeah.
had
Yeah.
good guard play, good forward play, and McCormick, who's just holding it down in the paint, and he's a
Yeah.
beast.
Yeah.
Which is why, actually, a big reason why I thought they won that game against
Yeah.
UNC was towards the end of the game. UNC's jacking up shots from like 35 feet out,
Yeah.
while Kansas is feeding it into McCormick for like
Yeah,
good shots.
and I
or, like,
definitely
yeah.
think their defense stepped up in the second half. Where
Well,
like,
that was the thing because after that first half, I think everyone was like, "Oh, UNC's got this."
I
in
thought
the
UNC was
bag."
gonna win.
I know.
I thought they were gonna win. I was like,
Yeah.
wow, good for them. Like after being what, 8 or 9 seed, like that's
Absolutely.
crazy.
Yeah.
I thought UNC's performance, obviously, in that first half was pretty incredible, but
Insane.
then I had a feeling the way that Kansas just flat out outperformed a team like Villanova
Yeah.
was incredible
Yeah.
to watch. And so I figured second half was going to be a little bit different.
And hats off to UNC too.
Absolutely. I mean, Caleb Love, I wanted to talk about him anyways
Yeah.
because I thought before March Madness, that's a kid who probably was going to go undrafted. And
Yeah,
I
he
think
played
he could
himself.
go early first round or second round now, because that kid absolutely deserves to go
Well,
drafted
and it speaks
now.
to the effect that March Madness and this bracket and this tournament can have on a kid's career trajectory. Like this kid probably wasn't getting drafted and had a good tournament, and now he's gonna have teams wanting him.
I thought his performance was just incredible. I mean, there were questionable shots where I think he was just kind of throwing them up.
Right.
I think that's
But
just,
he
you
was
can tell he's a
making them.
confident player. Like,
Yeah.
you just see that in him, and he wants
Absolutely.
that shot. He's not afraid of that shot, and he's going to live with the results. So that's what's really impressive about it. And I also do think that he totally played himself into a top 20, 25 pick range for the NBA draft.
I did want to talk a little bit before we moved on really quick, though, about Puff Johnson. I thought, North Carolina does not really sub, which to me was kind of crazy because basketball is an exhausting game. So they barely sub. I think he proved to be a player that should come off the bench and should get way more minutes than he did in that March Madness, because in those last two games, or even against Kansas, I'm pretty sure, he was putting up some good numbers.
He was also going so hard, he ended up throwing up on the floor.
I know. I was like, oh, God.
But
I think he proved to.
Well, he's also the brother of Cameron Johnson.
Yes.
He's on the Suns, so he's like the real deal as well. So
who also played it. He was at the tournament, sitting with coach.
White hair.
Yeah.
Well,
you know,
Williams.
UNC's coach.
Roy Williams.
Yeah.
Roy Williams.
Last year.
Legendary coach.
Yes.
All right, well, I feel like we can finally wrap up college basketball. It was such a fun season. Boise
Sad
State.
to wrap it up.
Sad to wrap it up, but all of our brackets were busted. I feel like Andrew had the best one, but regardless. Let's move on to the Masters.
I'm excited for this.
Yeah, I think big sporting event. Scotty Scheffler, really cool to see
Absolutely.
him win. I think my coolest thing is that he went to the same high school as Clayton Kershaw and Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, Highland
which
Park.
is insane. Clayton Kershaw, Matt Stafford, class of 2006. Scotty, class of 2014. But just really cool connection there within the
Oh, Matt
sports
Stafford and Clayton Kershaw were in the same
class, grew up together. I think Kershaw was Matt's, I don't know. Matt was Kershaw's quarterback. And
Interesting.
Matt
Okay.
caught for Kershaw
To
in
me,
Little
what's
League.
crazy
and-
is how much younger Scotty Scheffler is than the both of them.
I know.
Because I feel like he looks like a 40-year-old dad.
I agree.
Everyone was like, there is no way that he's that young. But it's pretty incredible what he did. He was going into the tournament the best player in the world, or the best golfer in the world. And he
just
obviously proved that.
through and through. He was
viewpoints.
just winning the entire
Yeah,
time.
and just
With
his
ease.
viewpoints
It
on
was
everything.
easy for him.
He was like,
Yeah.
I just want to go out there and feel peaceful, and he's like, I love golf. I love golfing, and so
He has a very positive mindset
just really
towards
cool
the sport.
dude.
I think more people were honestly tuning in to watch Tiger limp around a little bit rather than
Absolutely.
Scotty Scheffler.
All eyes were on Tiger.
All eyes
were on
Pretty disappointing.
Well,
I mean, okay.
disappointing and not disappointing. I
Yeah.
think
Yes.
because he almost died, I think it's impressive that he was even out
that
there
he was
and
even
playing.
golfing
Yes.
again.
Yeah.
It also is one of the longest courses to walk, and that's 4 days of walking. So that was already questionable for him before the tournament even started.
And the fact he made the cut is so impressive.
Yeah.
After, like you said, almost dying. We didn't even know if he'd be walking again, much less playing golf. And so
Also playing good golf to
good
make
golf
the
to
cut.
make the cut.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
many people don't even make the cut.
I think it
so-
really came down to his putting too for him. It's
Yeah.
what really hurt him the most.
Yeah.
I do want to talk about Rory McIlroy because to me that his last day performance was incredible. He went 8 under, which is very, very impressive in golf.
Very impressive.
For one day. So, but he
Insane
struggled in the
comeback.
first 2 rounds, but he did move up to second, which got him a much higher payday. So I thought that was pretty impressive. And Rory McIlroy is also someone who's been golfing for a very long time. He's been in the sport for a very long time. He's much older than a lot of the other guys. So I thought that was incredible.
Yeah.
Great. Masters. Let's talk about World Cup qualification.
Yeah, soccer is
good.
not something that we've ever talked
No,
about on here
I know.
before.
I'm like, how long have we gone without talking about
Yeah.
soccer?
Well, we talked about women's soccer, right?
We talked about
we
our
did?
No?
Boise.
No, we've actually never talked about soccer.
First time.
Soccer fans, now's your time. We're talking about the U.S. men's national team.
Absolutely.
Qualified for the World Cup, which is so exciting.
Yes, so they didn't, for those of you that don't know, they didn't qualify the last World Cup.
Yes.
Which was pretty disappointing. Obviously, our men's soccer team has never had a great track record.
Definitely not our women's soccer team.
Oh my God,
for
definitely
sure.
not. But I also always like to talk about the fact that I feel like the U.S. is so diverse with sports that I feel like a lot of our better athletes aren't necessarily playing soccer.
100% agree.
Whereas in other countries, soccer is one of the biggest sports, if not the biggest sport.
Yes.
Yeah,
so
soccer.
most of their athletes are playing soccer. I did want to talk about Italy. I don't know if you guys follow soccer at all.
Yeah.
Italy is a team that has had a track record of being very good in men's soccer. They just failed to qualify for the World Cup for the second time in a row.
Which is crazy.
Which is insane because they just won the Euro Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Soccer is like so weird this year. I feel like this quad really.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But like I would say like seeing the men's national team qualify is like super exciting. And they did it without a lot of guys. Like Weston McKennie wasn't there for the last tournaments. Obviously Christian Pulisic had an insane tournament the last few games.
Well, I wanted to go into him too because the reason I think our men's national team is starting to succeed a little bit more is because they actually have a few players who are playing in the Premier League, which we haven't had in the past, and that's what's really, they're playing at the highest level of soccer and then coming back to the U.S. and playing for the national team, which is really exciting to see.
And I also think like it's important to note that we have a really good future. Like this is the youngest team to ever qualify for a World Cup tournament, and so like that future is so bright for our men's national team, which is exciting. And obviously our women's national team is just like
how do you think our chances are to make a deep run?
The group isn't too bad.
It's not.
The group draw wasn't too bad.
I think they could come out probably in second or I think it's pretty reasonable.
I think it's very
honestly.
plausible that they'll come out of the group round, and then they have the opportunity to win a game or two in the knockouts. So
I'm definitely not putting them as winning the whole thing.
No. But
Come on, where's that?
Where's that
spirit?
American spirit?
Yeah.
Maybe for women's.
I've got them winning.
Yeah.
So, and women's qualification will start soon for next year's World
absolutely.
Cup. So.
Speaking of that, I had the pleasure of playing soccer against one of the best talents right now. She's the highest paid female athlete right now, and I grew up playing against her, Trinity Rodman, who is Dennis Rodman's daughter.
Right, yes.
She was always a really great player. I'm like, my mom can tell you she loved her from growing up watching her playing. So that's just kind of cool that I had the pleasure.
She scored a goal in their exhibition game this last week.
She's an incredible. Trust me, I played defense. She was forward. Like I played against her. She's an incredible player and athlete. So seeing like the success that she's had in the sport, now being the highest paid female athlete, is just kind of incredible to me. So
insane.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to our MLB opening week updates. Some baseball.
We have, speaking of women.
Speaking of
successful women.
Oh, this is so exciting, you guys.
Christy and I get so amped up off this, and Andrew just sits here.
No, I let you guys have yours off.
No, this was so fun to see. As like women who love sports, having Alyssa Nakin, the first female to coach on the field in a major league game. She's a coach for the San Francisco Giants. Good on the Giants. I will never willingly give the Giants props.
Christy and I are Dodgers fans.
That deserves props. That deserves mad props. And exciting, it's so cool to see, you know. And it was, she took over first base. Their first base coach got ejected, so she's not the full-time first base coach, but just super awesome to see her.
Still making history though.
Making history and paving the way
for other women too. And that's the biggest thing when we talk about women is for a younger woman. I grew up watching Erin Andrews, absolutely loving her. Tracy Wolfson, seeing those women in those positions just makes younger women like Christy and I who want to go into that field know that we have the opportunity to do those things.
Maria Taylor, Erin, just all these girls and women succeeding, it makes it possible, and so just super cool to see. And I think we'll start seeing more of it.
Absolutely.
I hope so.
In basketball, we've seen it with
Becky
the Spurs.
Hammond.
So It's starting to, even in football now too, I'm pretty sure.
They're on the Niners. They have the defensive coach.
And female officiators doing officials, refs doing Super Bowls and stuff. So
it's pretty incredible.
Pretty incredible. Also, I want to talk about Stephen Kwan, rookie for the Cleveland Guardians. He started his season with 116 pitches without a swing and miss, which is literally insane. Like, that's
incredible.
That's incredible. And for a rookie to do that, like in the major leagues, he's like starting out his career against major league pitchers and doesn't swing and miss for 116
That's like a
pitches.
Corey Seager rookie season.
It's crazy. So the Cleveland Guardians had fun with it afterwards. After it ended and he finally swung and missed, they put a graveyard and they were like, rest in peace to his record.
Oh my God.
They had fun with it, but everyone in baseball was like looking at this rookie like, okay, Rook.
So let's get into the big story in the MLB. Clayton Kershaw's 7-inning no-hitter, or perfect game, actually.
Perfect game.
Almost perfect game. Christy, I want to hear what you think about that, about
Big
him
Dodger
being
fan,
pulled.
So as a Dodger fan, I'm a little bit torn because in the moment I was like, you gotta let him finish that game. There's only 23 perfect games in the history of the major leagues, and he could have been the 24th to do it. And there was only 6 more outs. He was only at 80 pitches. But on the other side of that, as a Dodger fan, you kind of want to see the longevity of the season. And Clayton Kershaw is someone who is
early.
It's very early. He didn't pick up a ball until January. Didn't start throwing until January. And he's, prone to injury.
Very prone to injury.
Very, very prone to injury.
Absolutely.
And he was injured the end of last season. So Austin Barnes, the catcher, Clayton Kershaw, Dave Roberts, they were all like, that was the right decision. Yeah. Unfortunately, we all, as baseball fans, we all would have liked to see him.
You want to see history being made.
As a non-Dodgers fan and as just a sports fan in general, you just want to see moments.
No, I understand.
Exactly. So
But
I was disappointed to see that
he is
he
a player
got
that
pulled.
the Dodgers cannot afford to lose.
Yeah.
He's a
That's
star pitcher. He has been since the moment he stepped onto the field. And we can't afford to lose him. As Dodger fans, that would be a terrible loss. And you kind of have to look at it in the sense it's so early in the season.
And the Dodgers starting pitching. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say because it's early in the season, I think that's the perfect reason to let him go.
I would say I would
rather
agree
than
with that.
way later in the season when you're already
that.
thrown however many pitches.
However, he said I haven't even thrown more than 70 pitches in a real game, and I was already pushed to 80.
They're going to stand by the decision no matter what.
Absolutely. And Clayton Kershaw's not someone that would ever come out against his manager and say that was the wrong decision.
Yes.
But I get it. I was way more mad at Dave Roberts, the Dodgers manager, in the moment. I was like, you can't take him out. But I get it. So unfortunate. I will say last night, the Dodger game against not against Freddie Freeman, but with Freddie Freeman, had a double in the 8th inning. Yeah, standing ovation, chants his name. He kind of took off his helmet and saluted the crowd, and he was just like, that was chills, a moment I'll never forget.
I mean, the Dodgers are really setting themselves up to become one of the. I mean, they've always been.
You guys could be an all-time
But
great
this is what I'm
team.
talking about. This is a team that they have right now that has the potential to become one of the greatest baseball teams ever.
No.
100%.
It's true, and people are comparing them to the 1927 Yankees, which for those at home,
which is a huge deal.
Huge thing. And I will say a lot of baseball historians are like, you can't do that.
Yeah,
You
they're
can't compare the two.
no one.
But if you look at data and stats
and the depth of this Dodgers
and everything,
team too,
it does kind of compare. So again, you have to actually play the games, and we'll see how it turns out. But it does have the potential to be a very, very special season for this team.
I don't know if they can do better than my Mariners, though. I think we're gonna bring it this year.
Yeah, World Series matchup, Dodgers Mariners.
Yeah, that'd be a great game. Great series. All together. Well, if we want to move into a little bit of local sports.
Well, I think you're forgetting our favorite segment.
Oh my goodness, how could I possibly forget?
So let's move on to some hot takes. So each week, Alex, Andrew, and I will be sharing some of our hottest takes about the sports world. Each of our simmering takes will be a surprise to our other 2 guests. And so you'll get to see our real-time reactions.
Okay.
So Christy had like the ultimate hot take.
I had the ultimate hot take.
was-
I feel like I won like for hottest take.
Probably for like the eternity of the
Well,
show.
even though I didn't agree with your take.
Yeah, you don't have to
That's just the
agree with
hottest
it.
take.
I want to
yeah.
see if we can get some similar reactions today. So
Okay.
who wants to start us off?
I feel like I can't follow up. Mine, it's like not
Okay,
as hot.
I'll just start off.
Okay,
I'll start
Andrew,
off.
start off.
Okay.
I don't want to start off.
So I am going with basketball.
Okay. Of course.
No surprise, but I say the number 9 seed, the Atlanta Hawks, will make it to the Eastern Conference Finals again. We are
Ooh.
forgetting that they were
They
there
did.
They did.
last year. They still have Trae Young, John Collins, Clint Capella, Kevin Huerter, bunch of good role players. They're playing the best basketball at the right time going into the playoffs. They do still have to beat Cleveland, but I think that they could beat Miami. I know Miami is a good team,
Yeah.
but with the way the bracket's organized, they don't have to play Brooklyn or Milwaukee until the Eastern Conference Finals. I think they could get past Miami and or Philly and Toronto. And I have Atlanta being in the Eastern
You know
Conference
what?
Finals.
I kind of don't disagree with you.
Yeah?
I do.
I see it.
Oh, yeah?
I do.
Well, I think because you have your Celtics and then whoever else in the Eastern Conference.
I will never go against our Celtics.
Okay, so not too bad of a hot take.
Not too
then.
bad of a hot take. I think I see where you're coming from.
But it's a hot
It
take
sizzled
because
a little bit.
sizzled.
it's a hot take because they're a 9
They're a 9
seed,
seed,
so
yes.
they're not even
Yeah.
supposed to be in the playoffs
Yeah,
since
yeah,
there wasn't
the
a
Bengals.
plan. Yeah,
Yeah,
essentially, yeah.
Yeah,
So.
I like it.
All right, is it my turn?
Yeah.
Go ahead, take it away.
Mine better like erupt a fire.
Oh,
Okay.
no.
That's it. Better
Maybe-
be hot like that.
Okay.
Oh, God.
So I think if Peyton Manning didn't suffer that neck injury that he did in his 5th year, I think, something like that,
Okay, yeah.
he would have gone on to be better than Tom Brady.
No, definitely not.
That is a hot take. The Colts,
I don't know about that.
Tom Brady.
Yeah, tell me why.
Tom
Yeah.
Brady gets hurt, right, with the
Okay.
Patriots. And the Patriots at the time did not have this great, amazing team. I mean, what Bill Belichick and Tom Brady did together was incredible. Everyone can agree on that. But Tom Brady gets hurt, and the Patriots still go on and make the playoffs. Okay? When Peyton Manning was on the Colts and he suffered that injury, he got hurt. He was out for a year and a half, I think, something like that, almost 2 years. The Colts went on to having one of the most losing seasons that they had ever had. And then he comes back, and they're winning again.
And I think
And then
that
he goes
speaks to his greatness. But
I'm saying his career
his-
I believe his career was ended short because of the injury. Because even when he went to Denver, he wasn't playing at the caliber that he had been playing at when he was
That's
on the
true.
Colts. He wasn't. He simply wasn't. We had
Yeah.
one of the greatest defenses, I believe, of all time at Denver during that season.
Yes.
He definitely.
I just think also Peyton Manning, like Tom Brady, one of the things that makes him Tom Brady is he just has that gene. Like he just gets it done in the biggest moments.
See, I think
don't
it's like
know
LeBron.
if Peyton Manning
I think it's like
has
LeBron with
that.
the longevity of his career and how he's been able to continue to play at such a high level with how old he is, similar to LeBron,
Yes,
I'd say.
yeah.
But I think that's why. I think if Peyton Manning hadn't had that injury, I think that he
Okay.
was just as good as Tom Brady.
I see where you're coming from. However, I don't think that Peyton Manning, regardless of that injury or not, would still be playing right now.
And that's the question, right? That's the question
No. And like Tom Brady's still.
I also think that Tom Brady and LeBron are like two like that's not normal at all.
No, that's not normal to be playing
Yes.
like that. I think it's more normal to see like.
But even when you look at it in the short, Peyton Manning didn't have a short career, but
No.
his stats were much better than Tom Brady's were
in the regular
his career.
season.
Yeah.
In the regular season.
Yes, and
Once they get to the playoffs,
If we're talking
But
about
he
greatest,
broke more records than Tom Brady had with the stats
yeah.
in a way shorter career.
I think yes. I think if you're looking at like greatest quarterback of all time, and you're saying that he would be better without the injury, you have to look at the whole career and the whole like postseason.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Literally everything, and I just don't think like the injury made that much of a effect.
I think this is like my big thought process here. I think it shortened his career, and because of that, because I think when people think of greatest song of all time, they think of the longevity of their career. And I think it shortened his career into what he could have had that would have made him like exceptional.
I can agree with that point.
Yes,
I just don't think they would have.
Better.
I just don't think it would have put him atop Tom Brady.
Well, that's my hot take.
There you go. It's a hot take for a reason.
Hot take
So,
for a reason.
yeah.
Hot take for a reason. Okay, mine's. I don't have as much of a bang this week, so don't get your hopes up.
I don't think you could ever.
I don't think I could ever top it. My hot take is that Alyssa Naken, the assistant coach for the San Francisco Giants, will be a manager. A major league manager within the next 5 years, which is saying a lot because she's not even right now. She's not even
the
first base coach, full-time first base coach, full-time third base coach, not a bench coach yet. I think that she's that good and that historical that she will make that rise that quickly.
Okay, so I guess explain, because I don't know too much about her.
Yeah. So she's just someone who has so much knowledge around the game. Obviously, to be the first woman,
she has to.
That's what I'm saying. You have to prove yourself so hard
in a male-dominated
industry. I mean, male-dominated is even putting it lightly. No one's ever done this before as a female.
Yeah.
And so she has the intelligence, she has the work ethic, she has the history. I think she'll do it.
I think she can be a manager. I don't know about your time frame.
Yeah,
I think that was
the hot take.
That's the hot take. Yeah, because 5 years.
That's
really quick.
Really quick.
Some coaches don't even become managers. But I think she'll be the first to do it, and I think.
And how long has she been a part of the team with the?
Only a couple years.
Yeah, not that long.
This is only her second year, I think.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So.
I think she's going to have a lot of support to get to that position.
Yeah.
I think that's why maybe she actually would be able to do it. Because they do want, it's not, I think in the past they didn't want females in the industry, and I think now we're at a place where they actually do want females in those positions.
Yeah.
I agree.
Because it speaks a lot about the sport.
Yeah.
So I think it is very possible, and I think she'll have a lot of support for that, but I think the 5 years is...
That was the hot take. That was the hot take.
But I don't necessarily disagree with you. No, at all.
I'm rooting for her, hopefully.
Yes!
Yeah.
Okay,
there you go.
Cool. Hot takes...
They sizzled.
Good. They sizzled.
A little bit less than last week.
A little bit less
I thought I had a good hot take.
You had a good hot take this week.
Yeah,
you did.
Yeah.
Yeah, because last week mine was a little. I don't even think it sizzled at all. So yeah.
All right. Should we move into our campus recap?
Yes,
Let's do
absolutely.
So our main line dance team competed at NDA Nationals this past weekend and took home third in both D1A Jazz and D1A Hip Hop. These amazing athletes cheer on our sports teams all year long, and they deserve all the recognition for this amazing accomplishment.
Men's golf took home the 2022 Red Hawk Invitational Championship, and this marks the second time in program history a team has won 2 or more tournaments in the same season.
Athletic Director Jeremiah Dickey had a busy last couple of weeks with a few major announcements for Bronco Nation. The first being the news of a new video board coming to Albertson Stadium next year that will be the biggest in the Mountain West Conference when completed. The athletic department also announced a vision for a future athletics master village. This plan is extensive, but if completed, would put Boise State in a great position to move into a Power 5 conference in the future.
And now it is time for our favorite part of the show, the 2-minute drill. And you know how it works by now. We're going to put 2 minutes on the clock and give 2 of our hosts a sports topic to debate about. I'll be the mediator this week while Alex and Christy submit their best arguments to try and win the debate. Throughout the year, we'll keep track of how many points each of us has won to see who the ultimate winner is. Today, we'll be talking about who is the greatest coach in sports history. So let's see who takes the win in our favorite game, the 2-minute drill. Okay.
I'm so scared. I have to be the
Okay, you got the
I feel like every time I go against Christy, I just get a little worried because Christy is like a fact girl.
I am a fact girl.
Okay.
However, somehow I've only won 1 debate. So you guys have won 2.
So let's, you are arguing.
So we're doing greatest coach of all
Yes.
time, and I'm arguing Phil Jackson.
I am arguing John Wooden.
Gotcha. Okay.
So yeah, we are doing both kind of historic people.
Yeah,
in the
and
sport of basketball, both of them.
Basketball,
So this will be
I
exciting.
am completely unbiased here. I'll sit aside and let you guys go. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first. I never go
Okay.
first.
Okay,
I always
okay.
go second.
Go ahead.
I'm going
Okay.
to start with stats. I'm just going to start there.
Okay, we're starting.
Wait, I need a breath. Okay. I need to compose myself.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, to start off, he's won 7 straight NCAA titles, won 10 titles in 12 years, which is absolutely insane. He won 12 conference titles, won 88 consecutive games over only 4 years, which is just insane. He won 38 consecutive NCAA tournament games, which is also ridiculous. He's the greatest mentor in sports history. Can see all of his work all around in books, quotes, other things. So he's definitely, I think, the largest figure in basketball coaching. He's also coached players like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, some of the greatest players of all time.
Cool. Yeah. So we can go into stats. About how Phil Jackson has the greatest winning percentage all time in NBA history. He has 9 rings as a coach, which is literally insane. 2 rings as a player. He's like the greatest coach of all time. But
Is there an award after
You mentioned players. Let's talk about literally how Phil Jackson tamed Dennis Rodman, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, and then Shaq, Kobe. Like, you talked about players. Like, okay, we can talk about players. He got that. I also think the greatest sticking point of Phil Jackson is that he literally changed the game. He challenged the process by looking at the game of basketball and saying, this is not working for me, I'm going to create something different with
that's what John Wooden did also.
Pause. The triangle offense, okay? He literally came up with the triangle offense and was like, we're going to do it this way. Somehow managed to get people on board with the triangle offense when he was working with superstar divas, right? Dennis Rodman.
I gotta go. Okay. John Wooden is the most precise coach in all of basketball history. He's literally known to have had his practices planned to the second. And that's why his teams were so winning, because their games were so precise to literally the second of every single game. They knew what they were doing.
And Phil Jackson got his players on the same emotional page. That's how they were able to succeed.
Wow. Okay. Wow. That was.
Christy, I'm like, hold on, Christy. No, never go that to me again.
You're like, hold it.
No, because you were trying to interrupt me, and I was like, no, I gotta get my points out here. You're trying. I let you go.
I want to see my face in that after.
I was like, no, I'm not finished.
I will say, you guys both have great arguments, and this is hard to choose because these are 2 of like the greatest coaches of all time. But I do have to lean with Alex.
Yes!
With my reasoning.
I'm over it, you
guys. With my
reasoning
being that I think it's harder to coach college players to like that much success for that long. And then bringing up the quotes and stuff, I do think he's a bigger figure in the game of basketball.
There's a literal award after him.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got the wooden tree or like the pyramid or something. Yeah. So I do think Phil Jackson, you had a great argument, Chrissy.
I'm over it. I literally won that. The thing about coaching, though, to me that's so crazy is that like we could have literally gone in so many different directions.
Yeah.
Like we could have picked such different people and still would have had a good argument.
For those at home, we were discussing who we were going to choose before this, and she was like, well, I think I'm choosing between Nick Saban and John Wooden. And I was like, I really hope she chooses Nick Saban because I feel like I'll win.
But then I felt like I had to pick someone that was like retired.
I probably would have gone with Phil Jackson if you chose Nick Saban.
Because I feel like once Nick Saban and like Bill Belichick retire, like I think arguably Nick Saban, once he's like done, will become like he'll be in the history books.
Yeah.
I mean,
I will say, I mean, this is we don't need to get into this, but Nick Saban like has proven that he can't succeed on both levels,
and
absolutely.
So but most college coaches can't. But that's something we can get into
saying is that like,
but that's pretty typical.
All fair points.
So unfortunately, that is all the time that we have for today. Tell us who you think the greatest coach in sports history is.
Also, we want to hear from you about what topics you wanted us to talk about. Tell us in the comments or on our new Instagram account at Beyond the Whistle BSU to send in your requests.
And we want to send a big thank you to all of you for joining us for this episode. Finally, we couldn't do it without our producer and crew, so to each of them, we send our gratitude. I'm Andrew Vincent.
I'm Christy Amstutz.
And I'm Alex East. Join us next time on Beyond the Whistle for all your sports news needs.